All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a massive military disaster from, well, over 2,000 years ago. And by picking it apart, we're going to uncover this incredible, timeless rule of strategy. And that's the idea that sometimes the greatest strength you have is the one you hide behind a mask of total weakness. So let's jump right into the big question, the puzzle that got me hooked on this story. How could a guy who was so brilliant, so well-versed in military theory that he could out-argue his own famous general of a father, then go on to lead his army to total, complete annihilation on his very first command? It just doesn't make sense, right?
Okay, so this is our guy, Zhao Kuo. On paper, he's an absolute prodigy, a true master of theory. But in the real world, well, his first time out, at the Battle of Changping, it turned into one of the biggest disasters in military history. I mean, we're talking about 400,000 troops lost. Just gone. So what on earth went wrong? Well, the answer isn't in any of his books, that's for sure.
To really get to the bottom of this, we've got to bring in the master himself, Sun Tzu. You see, he had this incredible idea about strategic deception. And we're not talking about just simple tricks on the battlefield. No, this is a much deeper philosophy. It's all about getting inside your enemy's head and controlling what they think.
And the core of that idea is wrapped up in this one phrase, Shi Xing Dong Di. What does that mean? Well, it basically means you show your enemy a false picture of reality. You create an illusion so convincing that it forces them to move exactly how you want them to. It's all about making them react to the world you've created for them, not the real one.
And this is where things get really interesting and kind of backwards. Sun Tzu says that the most convincing illusions come from their total opposites. So, if you want to look chaotic, you have to be incredibly disciplined. If you want to seem cowardly, you need soldiers with unbelievable courage. And if you want to appear weak, you have to be seriously, overwhelmingly strong. So the big point here is that this isn't just about pretending. You can't just fake it. To actually pull off this kind of illusion, you need the real deal as your foundation. You got to have a disciplined army to look chaotic, genuinely brave soldiers to act scared, and a whole lot of power waiting in the wings to seem weak. Think of it like a performance, but one that's backed up by some very, very real muscle.
And that right there is the crucial difference. See, pretending to be strong when you're actually weak, that's just a bluff and it can get called. This is the opposite. This kind of deep deception is a weapon that only the truly strong can even use. It's like a secret power-up that makes their existing strength way more devastating.
Okay, so with all that in mind, let's get back to the battlefield. Because the enemy general, a guy named Bai Qi, is about to use this exact playbook to set the perfect trap for our book-smart general, Zhao Kuo.
So before Zhao Kuo even showed up, the war was basically a stalemate, a real grind. The Qin army kept throwing themselves at the defenses of this super cautious veteran general named Lian Po, and they just couldn't break through. So what'd they do? They switched tactics. They stopped trying to win on the battlefield and started a new war inside the minds of their enemy. They planted one single, perfect rumor that was about to change the entire war.
And man, this was a brilliant piece of psychological warfare. The rumor they spread was that the Qin army wasn't afraid of the old general, Lian Po. Oh no, the only one they were really afraid of was the young genius, Zhao Kuo. It was designed to do two things at once. It played right into the ego of the Zhao king, who was getting impatient, and it was the perfect bait for the ambitious and, let's be honest, overconfident Zhao Kuo. And it worked like a charm. The king fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. So, the second Zhao Kuo takes command, he does exactly what they predicted. He scraps the old defensive plan and orders a massive, all-out attack. And the Qin general, the legendary Bai Qi, who was secretly in charge, just smiled and gave him exactly the illusion he knew Zhao Kuo was looking for. An army that looked like it was falling apart, a chaotic retreat, the perfect bait.
Zhao Kuo looks at this and thinks,
This is it! This is straight out of chapter 4 of my textbook. He sees a golden opportunity and charges forward with his entire army. He's totally committed. But while he's busy chasing this phantom, retreating army, Bai Qi's hidden forces, the real strength, come out of nowhere and slam the door shut right behind him. Just like that, his army is split in two, his supply lines are cut, and the trap snaps shut. And they were completely trapped, surrounded with no way out. And, worst of all, totally cut off from food and supplies. For 46 long, brutal days, this massive army was literally starved into collapse. The brilliant theorist was now face to face with the ugly reality of war. He tried one last desperate breakout, but it failed, and he was killed.
So, let's step back. How did this go so catastrophically wrong for one side and so perfectly for the other? Well, it all boils down to how each general saw the battlefield. Was it a problem you could solve with a book, or was it a game you play inside your opponent's head?
Yeah, this really breaks it down, doesn't it? You've got Bai Qi, whose entire plan was about deception, about luring the enemy in. But it was an illusion that was built on a foundation of real, solid strength. And then you have Zhao Kuo. He wasn't creating anything. He was just reacting, following the rules, treating this messy, unpredictable battlefield like it was a neat and tidy problem in a textbook.
And maybe it's as simple as this. Zhao Kuo saw a pattern on the battlefield and applied a rule from his studies. He was playing against the book. Bai Qi, on the other hand, he looked across the field and saw a person, an arrogant, predictable, and eager person. And he wasn't playing the book, he was playing the man. He custom-built an illusion that he knew Zhao Kuo's personality couldn't resist.
You know, Bai Qi wasn't just making this up as he went. He was basically running Sun Tzu's playbook page for page. He presented that false form, weakness, to get his enemy to move. He offered up the one piece of bait he knew Zhao Kuo would swallow. And then he smashed him with the real, overwhelming strength he had been concealing the whole time.
All right, so let's pull this all together. Because this ancient lesson, this art of managing strength and weakness, it's more relevant today than ever. And it doesn't matter if you're on a battlefield or in a boardroom.
So what's the actual formula here? Well, it seems like this kind of strategic deception really stands on three pillars. First, and this is non-negotiable, you have to actually have real strength. Second, you need the skill and discipline to show the complete opposite, weakness, chaos, fear. And third, you have to have your elite forces ready to pounce the very second your opponent makes their mistake.
And really, that's the timeless lesson, isn't it? It goes way beyond warfare. Think about business, negotiations, even sports. Any competitive arena. True mastery isn't just about what power you have, it's about controlling your opponent's perception of your power. Whoever controls the narrative, whoever controls what the other side sees, that's who has the real advantage.
So that's the big question this whole story leaves us with, right? What is true strength? Is it showing off everything you've got? Or is it about carefully controlling what your opponent gets to see? Zhao Kuo believed strength was something you read about and applied. But Bai Qi, he understood that true strength is controlling perception so perfectly that your opponent basically defeats themselves. And that's a puzzle every strategist, every leader still has to figure out today.